Hey everyone, thanks for watching my review video on equations. Let's get started. From class, there are a lot of things that we talked about, so I just want to review a few of those with you. We discussed that an equation is an equation because of two reasons. One, it has a variable, and number two, it has an equal sign. And we can think of an equation kind of like a scale, where my equal sign represents the balance, and I have values on either side. And they need to stay balanced. So if I manipulate this side of the equation, I need to balance it out by manipulating this side of the equation. We also talked about identifying a coefficient and a constant. So let me just review with you. The coefficient is the digit that's with the x value. So in this case, my coefficient is 2. You can kind of think of the word co as like a co-worker. Co means with. So 2 is the value with the x. And my constant is the value without the variable. My coefficient and constant in these examples will always be on this side of my equation. We include the operation in front to determine if my constant is positive or negative. And in this case, my constant is a positive 5. Let's take a look at some other examples. So on this value, this equation, I'd have no digit here, but technically my coefficient is going to be 1. And my constant is a positive 5. On this example right here, my coefficient is a 3, and my constant is the 7. Here's two more examples. On this example, my coefficient is 1/4. It's the value with x. And my constant is the -3, or we can think of it as -3. You can think of it both ways. And finally, over here, my coefficient is 1 again, and then my constant is a positive 9. So we imply a positive 9 up here. Let's take a look at some examples. We learned that with my addition property of equality and subtraction property of equality, I can isolate the variable by undoing my constant. I want a coefficient of 1 and a constant of 0. But basically, I need to get x by itself. It needs to be isolated. So how do I undo a positive 14? Well, to undo that, we're going to use the opposite operation and subtract 14. 14 minus 14 gives me 0. Likewise, if I take weight off of this side of my equation, or if I subtract on this side, I need to subtract on this side as well. So I need to subtract 14, and we get 6. I guess I didn't give myself enough room, but x equals 6. Over here, I need to get x by itself, so how do I get rid of 25? Well, this is a positive 25, and to get rid of 25, or to go from 25 to 0, I'm going to subtract 25. Subtract 25 from that side. This line kind of represents either side of the equation. And I need to subtract 25 on this side. 30 minus 25 is 5. So x equals 5. Okay. And let's look at this one last example of a basic equation. I have x minus 5. So how do I get rid of minus 5? Well, I need to do the opposite. I need to add 5. Think about owing someone $5 and then getting those $5. Well, now I have no money because I gave that person the money that I owed. If I add 5 to this side, we need to add 5 to this side, and we get 14. X equals 14. Okay. My next examples are more for the honors students. we took a look at some equations with integers. So let's take a look at these examples. Here is my balance, and I have x minus 1.8. So how do I get from minus 1.8 to a 0? Well, I need to do the opposite. I need to add 1.8. Negative 1.8 plus 1.8 gives me 0. We always want 0 on the side with the variable. And now I need to add 1.8 to this side. But the problem is, it's negative 10 plus 1.8. If I estimated what is negative 10 plus 2, I would get an answer of negative 8. So my answer needs to be approximately negative 8. From our integer rules, if I have a negative plus a positive, I have different signs, so I need to subtract the 2. So 10 minus 1.8, I get 8.2, and I need to keep the negative sign. So x is equal to negative 8.2. Now let's look at our next one. I have x plus 19.5. So I'm going to undo positive 19.5 by subtracting 19.5. And I get 0. And likewise, on the other side, I need to subtract 19.5. But there's a problem here. What I'm doing is 13 minus 19.5. From my integer rules, we need to use the additive inverse, where I need to keep 13, change the subtraction to addition, and change my positive to a negative. So this is the same as saying 13 plus negative 19.5. Same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract. So we're going to take 19.5 and subtract 13. .5, and we're going to keep the negative sign because negative 19.5 is further away from 0. So in this case, x is equal to negative 6.5. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped you. I'll see you next time.